is going on, Nissan Nation? From All Things Nissan here in Middle Tennessee studio to way over on our West Coast studios, this is your Nissan Nation, and I am your host, David Boyd, and our co-host is Daniel Groders. What's up, buddy?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Productions, the NMP, the place where you get Nissan radness all the time. Good to see you today, Dave. Well, hear you. See ya.
Radical,
Good to
bro.
see you all. Good to read all of you out there right now. Cheers. I got a beer in hand, and let's have a good show tonight, Dave.
Let's have a great show. I want to say thank you to, well, you can't really see it, but this is our Nissan Nation mug. I've got some Gentleman Jack tonight, Danny.
Ah, wonderful, wonderful. Dave, before we get this show started and cranking, there are already questions up on the board.
What? I haven't even noticed yet. Let's look.
And let me just put them to rest real quick. There was a couple guys. Obviously, Expedition Outfitters said, "Why is Danny wearing a jacket in the latest Nissan Xterra race truck video?" Because he lives in SoCal. I can elaborate a lot on this. Let's just say when this video actually was filmed, it was in the dead of winter out here in Southern California, so it was at least 45 to 50 degrees, which is, in my book, freezing.
Oh,
so
I've seen Danny here in the hills of East Tennessee, and like it was like maybe 60 degrees, and he was over there shivering next to a fire. So.
Yes. Also, it's like a super duper overlandy jacket. So it's kind of like I was testing it out, I think, that day, and I had just grabbed it, and I was like not worried about it getting dirty because I think I've worn that jacket like one time. But also, there was a scene in the video where I'm doing something over the workbench. And at the time, there may have been some type of firearm on my hip. And there's an elastic piece on the jacket, and it was just bulging out like crazy. When I went back to watch it, I was like, oh my gosh, that thing is massive.
You don't get that a lot, right? You don't get a lot of that.
Let me put that to rest. I didn't have a backwards boner. That was just my I was just happy to, yeah. So let's put that one to rest.
Freedoms, right?
I don't have that jacket anymore, just for the record there, guys.
The bulger jacket. Okay.
The bulge jacket, the overland bulge jacket.
Well, Danny, can you adjust your camera up just a hair? We're only getting like half of your Nissan. The people need to see that we're professionals. Look at that.
Is that good? I mean, it's showing good on mine, but
now I'm hearing music. What?
Oh, wow. Yeah, hey, we're starting. The show's starting. That's the problem. You know what? I was watching the show, and apparently it just started.
What's up? Jim Bob's in the house. Let's see. We got Hardin Duro, Frank B, Joe Taylor. Of course, Joe Taylor's going to be here. Flying J. Lot Lizard. Yeah. Frank B. Let's see. Who else? Expedition Outfitters. Of course, he wants to know all about the Bronco. And let's jump right into that, Danny. Did you see that somebody was with Sneaky with a drone, and they captured pictures of Ford out testing the Bronco versus the Chevrolet ZR2?
I didn't see that. I'm gonna have to go Google around a little bit. I missed that one. I've been a little light on the internet and stuff the last couple of weeks. I've been working my cheeks off, so I missed a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of our people in here have seen the picture. There's a yellow. It's a little grainy, but it's easily tell what it is. And then you see the Bronco Sport next to it, and I don't know if they're just doing a final benchmark against the ZR2 or somebody from Ford actually owns a ZR2 and they were out there filming something. Who knows? But I will say this: it's a very good looking truck. It really is, or SUV. It's gonna be a hit for Ford. And if Nissan and Toyota and some of these guys don't get the hint that they better come out with a removable roof, Bronco is them and Wrangler are gonna have all the fun.
Yeah, that's I mean, I got to see the video of it and see how it was doing. I mean, does it show much in performances?
No.
I mean, are they running next to each other, kind of a deal, or
no? It's a still picture. So somebody with a drone must have known where Ford was testing something, and supposedly their Rubiconish version, whatever they're going to call that thing, might come with 35s from the factory.
That's thick.
We can
we'll see
change
what kind of axles, or we'll see what kind of axle they stick under. If they're going to be putting 35s, they better have a beefy axle underneath there.
Well, and so where I'm leading to this is, so this past week, our buddies over at TFL Trucks, they somebody within Ford was sneaking some pictures to them, and I mean they got very detailed pictures of the 7-speed transmission. So it's a 6-speed with a crawl gear plus reverse. it's also going to have electronic sway bar disconnect, like the Rubicon.
Yep.
Like it's taken on Rubicon, other than the fact that it's an independent front suspension. But kind of where I'm going with this is, so Ford has a new F-150 that premieres this week, I think. And all the journalists, you can get in on it, and they're doing it digitally. So they're going to do a sneak preview for the journalists to write about, and then they'll show it to the public. So they got their invitation taken away for showing. Like, these pictures were that bad that Ford had enough. Now Ford has a history of this. They really do. Like, they have a history of don't kind of piss off Ford if you're a journalist, or they're gonna spank you around a little bit. But which leads into what we did with Nissan with the Frontier. We've not heard anything yet, but also we've not gotten any invites lately, Dan.
Yeah, let's that I think who just said it, who was it? Someone just said RIP TFL. Joe Taylor said RIP TFL.
Right.
They may be barking up the wrong tree a little too soon. We'll see how that plays out.
Well, the worst thing they did, Danny, so TFL came out and they came public about it. But, you know, you could have wrote a public statement saying that we're not going to be able to cover the release of this. Clearly, they're pretty big journalists on especially YouTube lands. They'll eventually get to cover it. But they just wouldn't stop. They just kept talking and talking and talking about it, and they started coming off like spoiled kids. You know, before the show, me and you were talking about our children, how they can have temper tantrums sometimes. Danny, TFL truck was they were really showing their temper tantrum, and if they would have not even mentioned it, people would have said, "Hey, what happened?" They could have said, "Hey, we must have missed the invite to that." But guess what? Ego got involved, and they couldn't just be like, "Well, we didn't get that invite," and let it go at that.
Yeah,
they had to be like, "Oh, we got the invite, but then Ford. It's always Ford's fault."
Yeah, there was some temper tantrum, I think, where it was their feathers got fluffed.
Oh, we got Cordetti in the house. What's up, guys? Let's see who else we got here. We got Brian in here. Lance, I would ruin that Rumesh. Dude, I'm gonna butcher
Rumesh, man.
Okay,
how you gonna butcher Rumesh, man?
I'm sorry,
it's
man.
Rumesh.
I'm not as versed in names as you are, Danny.
All right, Dave, we gotta stop starting the show off with Bronco, and it's all Expedition Outfitters' fault. That guy can kick rocks. Raul can go sniff a tree and tattoo a pig foot.
Well, but I was spinning that into the fact that watch this. Watch the screen, everybody. Watch this. You're going to really like the screen.
Oh, here it comes. Nissan Hawaii Nation.
Danny, you're going to like this.
Ronald's up in here.
If it ever pops up.
We're on a time delay for the pop-up as well.
I guess. Anyways, when y'all see it, you're going to really laugh at this one. But there it is. Oh, I see it. You guys won't see it just yet.
Excuse me.
Anyway, so the Bronco talk was leading into how manufacturers, if you don't toe the line with them, how they can kind of spank you around a little bit. And yeah, you know, all's fair in love and war with journalism, but at the end of the day, we're all reliant on auto manufacturers. There's nothing we do that we can just do without them. So at the end of the day, we got to bow down to them just a little bit, which is part of why when we released that Frontier picture, that's why we struggled with that forever to do that. So, you know, we didn't want to bite the hand that fed us a little bit, but you know, what it is.
There's a list that they have of friendly and or not friendly automotive journalist types and publications, et cetera, and you know, most of them try to stay on the friendly side of that book. So.
Right. And Ronald, thank you for that.
Sometimes you just gotta let your constituency have what you got, as opposed to, you know, snuggling up to the big dogs.
Right.
Which I think, in truth, like our YouTube is allowed us to, you know, we're more for the people than we are for the corporate. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong. We like a nice corporate event, but we're for the people.
The people? Who are those? Who are the little people? Oh yeah, I'm sorry, Danny. Yeah, sorry. I was nursing off my Nissan glass that I was given. So.
Sell out, Dave.
I know. I've been bought. No, but you are right though. We that's where like Nissan in general, when we've had meetings with them, they don't know how. Like we're hybrids. We're the weirdest thing out there because we're journalists, but yet we're also hardcore enthusiasts of the brand, and we only cover one brand. So sometimes it does make it a little difficult to.
Yeah.
But let's see what is going on, Nissan Nation. What's any cool questions popped up there right away?
I don't know if we got any Nissan related questions. A bunch of yammer jammering, complaining.
Oh, Corbion, my son is on there. Stream's looking good. Thank you, sir. Oh, look at the picture. It popped right up, Danny. Did you see that? You'll see it in a minute.
I did. I'm missing them. But Joe Taylor says, David, Danny, are you disappointed that there's not a VC turbo in the 2021 Rogue yet?
I was fed some information on that, and it may happen in the future. Joe, especially, I've talked about that the VC turbo could be in the Pathfinder, and it could have been in this, but for whatever reason, I don't know if they're having some issues with it when in testing or what. It is what it is right now, and I'm not. Nissan's not in a position right now to offer a lot of options. Obviously, we know the condition they're in financially, and they're not. Everybody keeps going, oh, they're done, they're gone. Like this is the first quarter that they've lost money in like 10 years. Like it's stupid. They had enough money to go basically buy into Mitsubishi, and that was what 3 years ago. Like they have funds, so. Yeah. But they're also not in a position to just like do a Ford where they've got 15 motor options, and there's really no need. That vehicle, other than the amenities on the inside, is going to sell no matter what.
Yeah, and so I think the variable compression motor, I think they're probably still working out how they would integrate turbo into that motor. This is purely postulation on my part, but there's a lot of maybe that VC motor can't quite take the kind of power that you would see out of just a standard motor, and if they were to put a turbo on it, it might be really low boost. Is it worth it? Can you get just the same amount of reliability and power with the variable combustion as you would with putting a small turbo on it at low boost?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of questions there that could be or there's a lot of things that could cause problems with a variable combustion motor that when paired with, high and low compression from a turbo, adding to that high and low compression from the variable, basically the stroke, that might be just too much and not worth coming out with that. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And the engine they put in it, torque is up a little bit. I think horsepower is up just a tick. I mean, I've never known anybody that bought a Rogue for performance anyways. And clearly it has a CVT transmission in it. So that's kind of, and I'm not going to sit here and crap on the CVT, but it's not like CVT transmissions make a vehicle feel sporty, And they're,
for sure.
The Rogue that they showed, you have like sport mode where it changes the handling a little bit and some of the imitation shift patterns, and there's snow, and like it has a few options to make it a little bit more fun. But I actually finished up a video about an hour ago, Danny, on the my first thoughts of the 2021 Rogue, and that video will be dropping this Tuesday, guys. I say in the video, I've never had so many people hit me up about, hey, why didn't you drop a video when Nissan released that? And to be honest, and I think I said this a little bit last stream, it's never been that exciting to me. Like, I know it's going to get a ton of coverage right away, and it's not one of those things like with Frontier, we want to be the first to cover everything we can. Rogue it's a daily driver. It's a nice vehicle, but it's not something that's going to really excite the enthusiast.
Yeah, it's not an enthusiast. Yeah, it's not an enthusiast vehicle. So yeah, trying to and then on top of that, even when a vehicle like that is first dropped out, it takes a few days to like really get a good first impression about what all is in it. I mean, it comes out and they have the people kind of talk about it or whatnot. But like really, once you kind of dig into and look at all the things that Nissan may have released about it, and what may come from some of our leaks and whatnot, a good first impression should be based on as much facts and or somewhat good evidence of what is actually going to be in it. So it does take a little bit of time to come
Right.
up with something like that. So
Well, and then I've seen it. I didn't get into this on the video, but so everybody, all the journalists, they write their little five paragraph story on it, and that's about the end of the press release that you'll see from all these people. They amuse Nissan. They give them a little bit of it, something, and then they move on to something else. And now suddenly it's popular when I've talked about it in the past. It's popular to crap on Nissan. It's for the past 2 years it's been the thing to do. But now all of a sudden it's, well, why doesn't the Rogue, why haven't they showed it with a hybrid platform? And you're like, can they just get the damn vehicle out before we start trashing this thing again? And in my eyes, I don't think they need a hybrid. And I was watching something today where they were like, well, Toyota has a hybrid and Honda has a hybrid. So why can't Nissan? Why they need to be players in that market? And it's like, for one, Nissan's never been a big player in the hybrid market. They did an Altima that only went out to the West Coast. Or very select markets. They've done a couple. I think the last Rogue got a hybrid in 19, but that's not Nissan's
yeah, it's almost
wheelhouse.
like they skipped it. It's almost like they skipped it and worked on EV technology.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They said let's skip the hybrid thing for the most part and put most of our, they put a little bit more into their Leaf program, and even I imagine they put a bunch of money into their Formula E program too, which may have helped with
Yes.
some R&D and stuff like that in that area. So there's a good chance that that's what happened.
And if you guys aren't watching that yet, you need to be checking out Formula E, and it's coming back. It was put on hold due to COVID. Dude, that's some really interesting. It's weird racing to hear something go by you that you only hear kind of tires hitting the pavement, and you don't hear it. but
Yeah,
there's some good
it
racing.
it has a like that electric, like
Yeah.
that super high pitched electric motor sound. So there is a sound to it, but it is weird for sure.
Let's see. But that was. Oh, and also to touch on the Rogue a little bit more. So why also, in my opinion, they don't want to do a hybrid is you've got Aria coming out, which I think next month they're going to show it. You don't need confusing. You need a gas SUV, and then you've got an electric SUV coming out. There's no need for a tweener, or in my eyes, you're already having problems selling to a market. Why give that market too many options?
Yeah, I agree.
Let's see. There was a couple questions here.
Real quick, Cordetti asked why we thought that the old for the Navara didn't come to the North America market. I think we've touched on this quite a few times, but short, yeah, they really, I think a lot of the guys in North America, they didn't think that Navara was strong enough or beefy enough, especially with the rear suspension that they had.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted to come to America with something a little bit stronger, a little bit beefier, a little bit more
we were slated
masculine.
We were slated to get it in 16,
and they were supposed to. Yeah, they were developing it, and I think that project got kicked back way back.
Yeah, when Fred Diaz came over from Ram, he looked at the vehicle they were wanting to do, and he was like, "Look, guys, this they were literally trying to rehash the same seats."
Yeah, they said that truck is not going to make it over here in North America. We need to bring something stronger, and that I think that put a pause on their plan, and then all of a sudden it was like, we need to make something better, and then the entire shakeup through the entire company caused just everything to slow down.
What, and every time they get somebody new that wants to take over, be the president this week, they all want to put their stamp on something, and it's understandable, but it just takes away from these vehicles. So let's see. I think it was Ronald asked, do we think that the new interior of the Rogue is going to translate to the Frontier? I do think that the Frontier is going to get plushed out. I almost want to say they do a platinum version of this truck. Danny, what would you? So Danny. Okay, so they're getting a SV, SL, Pro 4X, maybe a Nismo. Do you see them going all in with a platinum?
I don't think they'll go with a platinum. I wouldn't personally. I think in that market there's not there's going to be I think they'll stick with the Pro 4 Expert version being the top end truck. The big trucks like full size, they get platinums because guys are buying those as their daily drivers, as like they're instead of like a big SUV or something like that. So they're it's a different type of person that's buying a full size truck
Right.
as their regular vehicle, whereas someone in the mid-size market, they're not looking for like a big luxurious vehicle. I would say most of them are looking for something a little bit more utilitarian, a little bit smaller. But I definitely see the interior looking very similar. Nissan is so known for taking one thing and doing it on across their line. I really think we'll see that big stand-up screen type thing that you've seen in the Kicks and the Rogue and the Maxima and all these things.
I would like to think that it's more integrated into the dash, though.
It might be a little bit, but
I don't think that
I think they'll have it.
I don't think the pop-up works as well with trucks as it does the cars.
I just don't think it'll stand up as tall.
Yeah,
personally,
but they're going to have
to.
They're going to have at minimum an 8-inch screen, and I really think it needs a 10-inch screen.
I do think that they'll put two different size screens in it, one for their base model, and then if you go with like the top two luxury package, we'll call them luxury package, Pro 4, or the what is it, SL? No.
Yeah,
SL package maybe. You could see a bigger screen in that possibly.
Yeah, because they're looking for ways to stand out against the crowd. Now Toyota puts an okay screen in the Tacoma, but the Tacoma they could roll out a Matchbox right at this moment and it would sell 100,000 a year. But they need to stand out. The Ranger already looks old. Sorry, Ranger guy. The truck already looks old because we've already seen this truck for 5 years before it got here, and maybe it was just a holding spot for whatever they want to do later on. That's fine. Colorado is looking its age now, and obviously Chevrolet came out, I think it was about 2 months ago, and said I think 2022 is when the new Colorado pops out. So Nissan needs 2021 to be all about them because nobody else is coming out with a new midsize truck. So the timing of it is really good for Nissan. They could win a lot of customers.
Yeah, I think they definitely have to integrate like what I think Cordetti, maybe Joe Taylor. They have to integrate a digital cluster with active, where you're going to get active cruise control and all that stuff right in the cluster where your speedometer is and all that stuff. You're going to have that. If not, I think it's a total fail because it's almost standard across the board.
Well, and it has been any new product Nissan's brought out, it's standard.
Yeah,
now.
I mean, if Ford's going to be doing it and Toyota's going to be doing it, and you're in the same segment, you have to at least have it's almost like there's a baseline that everybody else is offering, so you have to offer that in order to make sure that you're being competitive with the features in your truck. Unless you have something that blows everybody away so big that it doesn't even matter, which I don't see happening. They're not putting some kind of friggin' 700 horsepower V8 in it or something weird like that. You have to have a bunch of that stuff.
But they really do. Stuff falling down. I could see them doing the Frontier kind of warrior take and it being a halo truck for them. And you've got GTR, which is kind of it's outdated now, and nothing against GTR if I could ever find a decent price when there'd be one in my driveway. But they need a new halo vehicle. And, trucks is the hottest thing right now. I mean, I love cars to death, don't get me wrong. But trucks are so practical. Like the Frontier, like you have, Danny. Yeah. When I had my 4-door, I would put 4 people in that truck. Worked out perfect. I know you're a family of 5 now, but it still probably right now works out okay for you. But could you imagine, say the Frontier, say we get the next Frontier and it's a base, I'm going to say they up the horsepower by at least 5. So we'll say 315 is the horsepower in this thing.
Right.
What if they did a single turboed version that made you we're just speculating here. That made you 350 to 375 but it's a halo truck, Danny. This is a
If they made a Warrior with a turbo, I could see it. I could see it being like just this pure amazing thing. They wouldn't even have to sell that many of them.
No, because you
But
don't
it would
care
be
to.
it would be an epic truck. It would be like, hey, remember when the Grand National came out with the turbo, or hey, remember the Chevy Typhoon or something like that? I think that's what kind of a truck it would turn into.
Mhm.
It would be that ultimate. Hey, you know what? They're so hard to find anymore. 10 years from now or something like that. But it would be an epic thing if they came out with that. I don't see it, especially now with the slowdown and the even if they had the plans with it. I think with the slowdown in vehicle sales and the slowdown in production, etc., they're gonna have to still play it a little bit safe.
Yep.
They got to come out swinging, but they can't come out. They're just not at a place. I mean, even Ford, they're probably already done with all the R&D for all of it, for the Bronco and whatnot with what they're doing. But they have to play it a little bit safe. I think at this point. Maybe they come out with it and it's selling great, and they say, you know what, we have to do this Warrior version for the second year. Let's go all out, and really friggin' slam the door shut on this thing.
We had a source tell us this too. So the initial plan for Frontier, whenever guys, there was a question asked, do we know a date yet? I do not know a date yet, because as soon as I know, trust me, unless a good inside source tells me, which those they usually keep pretty tight, every journalist knows. So the original plan that we heard about a year ago was that Nissan wanted to release the S, SL, SV, and the Pro 4X, and wait a year to do the Nismo version. Now, I know a lot of dealers who I've talked to about this were upset about that. They were like, "Do not do that. We don't get people that go buy that Pro 4X thinking it's the top of the package, and then suddenly you come out with a really super package." And you're just going to piss a lot of buyers off. And I always found when I did vintage guitar sales, I had a $200 guitar, your basic starter guitar. But guess what? I had the super expensive. I had a $10,000, a $15,000 guitar hanging up above those. And guess what? Those expensive, what's up, pickup truck and SUV talk? I brought those expensive guitars, brought the little guys to buy the $200 guitars. And that's why they have a GTR sitting in a lot of showrooms.
Yeah.
Nobody's buying it. Most GTR sales are all online. So I know our buddy at Regal, our buddies at Regals, he told us one time, he was like, look, man, we only have that here. We'll make a little bit on it, but really it's
like a car show, right?
Yeah.
It's to get people to look at it and stay and
then we ship it somewhere. Somebody across country wants it and we ship it to them.
Yeah.
So
people don't just walk in like, hey, maybe I should buy a car today. Oh, that GTR looks good. Here's $100,000. I think that scenario is pretty rare. Like if you're going to buy a GTR, you probably call around, you say, and you're probably rich enough to where you're like, hey, can you deliver that to my house?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm. But let's see. I seen a couple more questions I probably dodged already.
Oh, Dave, I meant to mention while you're looking for questions, I meant to mention you were talking about the Frontier being a utilitarian truck, and it's a tool, right? Just like a full size truck is and stuff like that. Since my truck's been out of commission and I'm driving around this little schmanky rental car, oh my gosh, dude, I forgot how nice it is to have a truck at all times.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just throw something in the back. Oh, I needed to grab an office chair. I can't throw it in the back of the Z. Can't put it in the back of this stupid little rental. Just, it's amazing how much you forget how nice it is to have a truck bed.
Oh,
or a big space. Like I'm sure you've known it since you got rid of your truck too.
Me and Kelly, we went to. So I went and bought some wheels for the Juke, and I was like, damn it, now I got to get my dad's trailer. I got to hook it up to the Xterra.
Exactly.
And it's like every time you've got something, you're at a store and you're like, I need to make a big purchase. Ah, damn it.
You got to get a couple 2x4s. And you're like, wait a second, I can't just grab a couple 2x4s in the Juke, right?
If you're on our Instagram page, you have seen me put the Juke. I've used the Juke at Lowe's, and I put 2x4s through the sunroof. when I was building the studio, the desk out here, I did that, Danny. I kid you not.
Dave rocking wood in the Juke.
That's
nice,
right, man.
Buddy.
Let's see. There was a good. Where did I miss it? Where was it? Elroy Jeffrey. I thought they were going to do away with the CVT transmission. Okay, so your basic daily commuter cars are still going to rock CVTs for a bit. Now I didn't know this. That because I don't cover Toyota a ton. Toyota obviously does CVTs, but they're now putting a first gear in it, so you get that initial takeoff with a gear, and then it switches to CVT.
Yeah,
I could
I did
see
notice
them-
that too in my rental. Yeah, it
Yeah.
does have that.
I could see something like that happening with the CVT, but there's a few cars like Versa, Sentra. They need the CVT doesn't hurt them because the people buying that car are not buying it for performance. They're buying it to get them back and forth to work. They're probably a person that doesn't even like cars.
Yeah, Dave. Let me just okay. So Kelly Degler
Uh-huh.
just threw out a Juke pickup. Do you remember? Was it Nissan? I think Nissan made the Juke pickup. Was it a Juke pickup?
No, they did an electric the EV, the Leaf, they turned it into a little truck.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
wasn't a Juke?
No.
Maybe I'm wrong. Oh, so they turned the Leaf into a pickup.
Mhm.
You remember that though? That was so
Yeah.
out of you're like, all right.
But something fun like that keeps excitement within the company. Honda did that with the Element. They did one and turned it into a pickup truck, and it was really cool, man. No, it stayed at the plant, and there was no intent to build it, but it was still really cool. Nice, Denny. Tim, there's getting in your butt with pickup trucks and SUV talk.
Hold on, man. I'm missing it.
Let's see,
Kelly.
Kelly.
Danny, like I said, nice car, bro. I think he's talking about your Jeep, dude.
My
You're
Jeep.
gonna have to clarify, or not your Jeep, your Juke.
Oh, my
Sorry.
Jeep.
Somebody texted me about a Jeep. My buddy texted me. He's like, I just went to the Rubicon the other day. I need to get a Jeep. And I was like, nah, man, you need to get a Bronco.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Bronco Nation. Sponsored by Nissan.
Unfortunately, I would say you need to get an Xterra, but
Yeah,
you're
well.
gonna buy a new. I mean, if the Bronco comes out with 35s and longer,
Let's
he's not
see,
an off-road guy, so sometimes you need to spoon feed him.
So Kelly asked 2021 maybe for the next frontier. So this was something I answered the other day, and my buddy Tim there with Pickup and SUV Talk would probably debate me on this one. I think you're still going to see the truck this year. You're going to see the Frontier. They did everything they teased in that video A to Z. They're showing. So I really, unless the world falls apart again, I really think that the Texas State Fair is where you're going to see the Frontier. It's where all the manufacturers now want to show all their trucks. When they're anything truck related, they all want to do that there. Now that's granted that happens. Even if that happens, we're gonna speculate that okay. So I did a video where production for the trucks is back up. It's iffy this week what they're building. Like Nissan, and it's not just Nissan. It's all in manufacturers right now. They're still dealing with how to deal with COVID. And I think it was at the Canton plant they had a couple positive tests, which is going to happen. It doesn't mean the plant is riddled full of COVID.
Right.
But they're still having problems getting parts to build things. So they're doing the factories are not at full strength. They're not cranking them as fast as they can. I was doing 500 trucks a day when I worked for Nissan. So I think they could have cranked that up a little more. I know they were building them for about 3 weeks before COVID shut everything down. So they've probably got a good 3,000 to 5,000 trucks built. And they're doing them now.
Yeah, real quick, Dave, too, is I went over the Nissan dealership the other day just to grab a part, and I saw 7 black or midnight edition Frontiers on the lot.
19s.
Just lined up, 19s. And so, it's not like they're like dying to supplement stockpile at dealers,
Well, I will say some dealers, Danny, are out of trucks. There are some dealers that are just I've heard it. They're running low on everything, but that's across the board. I know Chevrolet right now is having an issue getting trucks to everybody. Ford's with the 20 whatever model they're going to call this a new F-150. Like, will it get out in a timely manner? Who knows? But yeah, but everybody has to understand. And somebody was arguing with me in one of our comments on a video that Nissan, they should just get this out right away. And I was trying to explain, well, COVID's pushed everything 60 days back. Oh, COVID BS, man. They just don't want, it's typical Nissan don't want to. And I'm like, do you not think a company that's hurting for sales right now doesn't want something fresh and new and exciting out there? Of course they do. Get out of here with that talk, man. But people are the press has trained everybody to hate on Nissan. Nissan's the dummy of the group and so on. Oh, and Joe Taylor. So Fred Diaz is no longer with Nissan. He's been a while. He was running Mitsubishi for North America. He's been out, I think, since March for Mitsubishi, and I don't know what Fred Diaz is doing right now. But Mitsubishi's about to pull out of the United States again, Danny.
Yeah,
they were set to build their American headquarters here in Franklin, Tennessee, next to Nissan's HQ.
Yeah,
And
Fred got pulled off of the trucks and commercial vehicle stuff right after the first Titan adventure, if I remember right.
no, that was he was ahead of their commercial sales and stuff. But no, Fred was doing he was vice president of, I forget. So
okay.
they've had so many now.
I'm getting them mixed up. Yeah.
But no, the guy you met, gosh, I can't think of his name at the moment, but super cool guy.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's see.
Anyhow.
Let's see. So the new Frontier transmission is the transmission a CVT or 6-speed.
That'll be a 9-speed for sure.
Yeah, automatic 9-speed, and rumor
it's gonna be the same thing as what's coming out right now.
A rumor
transmission motor.
Rumor has it manual transmission 7-speed, Danny. That's just a rumor.
That would be weird.
Would it?
I mean, if they had a crawl gear, but like, really, you're gonna have a 7-speed manual? That's a lot of gears.
Supposedly that same, Nissan, you were just talking, they like to put it across the board. Z's going to get a manual.
But what has a 7-speed manual right now?
Oh, gosh. The Bronco?
Nothing.
The Bronco?
Yeah, exactly. Maybe the Bronco?
I don't know. That's just, Danny, come on, man. When I was a kid, you would get a 3 or 4-speed, and then it went to 5 speeds, and we were like, ooh, 5-speed, and then you get a 6-speed. Pretty soon it'll be like a semi truck. We're gonna have 14 speeds.
I know, right? 10 gears. Your arm's gonna have one big right arm from shifting, one big left leg from squish and clutch all day.
Yeah.
Brian, what's up? Brian Turnquist in the house.
Ooh, we got royalty.
Captain Stitches.
Yeah, Captain Stitches. I like it.
That guy grinds his legs and fingers and arms more than anybody. I don't even know if he actually hits the metal. I think it's a 50-50 shot. When he starts grinding on metal, he's got metal and flesh.
Tim, you said you reached out to Fred for an interview. Was this recently or Tim? Hey Tim, we got to get you on maybe next week's show, man. I think it'd be fun the first 15 minutes to have you on here with Danny. Look at Danny. This is the kind of studio he's built. Look, his refrigerator is right next to him. Look at this. Oh my God.
Welcome to the
NMP. And all I'm asking is for Monster to jump on board, and I just want a refrigerator right here so I can do that. I can just be like, so Monster, if you're out there, come on guys, jump aboard the train, man. Let's see what else. We got some more questions here. Has anybody seen the Mazda BT50? Yeah, I actually like that Mazda. And it's strange is that it's not a Ranger underpinning, it's a Mitsubishi underpinning.
Yeah, right.
But it's actually a classy looking Mazda's really changed. Mazda was in the same boat as Nissan is right now. They were a bargain car at one time, and they've really switched it up, and they were trying to go a little higher end. And the truck,
for the longest time, Mazda was just kind of like Ford's side brand a little bit. They touched in that market a little bit, and they were just they were almost a full side brand and doing some of their own stuff. They've been weird their entire, other than like their Miata, which is obviously, or the Miata, and then the, what do they call it? The C5, whatever the Miata is now.
Oh yeah. That's
like their big deal, right? Mazda Miata. And then the Mazda Miata supposedly is like the best little track vehicle in the world.
They're stupid cheap.
Though you can't own one as a man, technically, in my opinion.
We got Joel in the house. What's up, Joel?
But yeah, that Isuzu, or that thing it's very interesting. It's cool to see a little bit more pressure put on the midsize market. I think the midsize market is just totally lacking these days. Just the fact that Toyota we've said it a million times, they kind of shit the bed a little bit with their recent Tacoma that was just lackluster. Their update on the Tacoma, and then Ford's pushing. They're pushing into it quite a bit now. I've seen a couple people picking up Fords.
Their sales aren't bad. Their sales aren't bad, but like I said earlier, it already looks old.
Yeah, it already looks old. The motor's pretty good. And if you slap some new suspension on it, it's a really good truck.
No, thank you on a turbo 4-cylinder, man. No, thank you. I know
it's
you drove it.
It's pretty fast. You got to drive one, Dave. You have to at least drive one in order to be able to give me the full negative on it.
I'll go to the Ford dealership this week, and I will
drive one. I will
drive one.
You have to. You have to do it, and
I'll
give us a
report
little
back
lowdown on it.
And I'll be like,
Yeah. And I was listening to our boys over at space. We just
Trail
did an
Chasers?
Trail Chasers, and I think it was Jeremy from Icon was talking about how the rear, it's a rear single leaf, and they really screwed the pooch on that rear
God,
suspension.
did
And
they
that was
ever.
that was my first impression when I drove it. It was twitchy, and then listening to them talk about it was the same thing where they were like, yeah, the rear suspension is whack, and then
Yeah.
they go on to talk about their Icon suspension. From what I have
Of
understood
course.
from all the people that I've talked to that switch it out, and obviously, it sucks that you have to get a truck that has from my opinion, it's a pretty good power plant. It
I'm sure
really
it is.
goes.
I'm sure it does.
But you have to switch out the suspension in order to make it a good truck. I mean, most of us do that.
Right.
But it kind of sucks that it comes from the factory and it's super.
Well, but the Frontier
twitchy.
now, the Frontier now, like you put anything in it and it sags in the rear a little bit.
Yeah.
Tim with Pickup Truck and SUV Talk says the Ford Ranger has a crap spot for an oil filter. I agree. Danny, have you seen where it's at, right?
I don't think I've seen it, no.
It's behind the wheel well. You have to pull the front passenger tire off and pull all the plastic off around it to get to it.
That's funny.
But, they're pushing to let dealers do it. So, and then I'm sure dealers upcharge for that. And let's see. Nissan Hawaii Nation. It would be funny if Hyundai comes to their truck before the new Frontier. Have you seen the little Hyundai unibody truck, Danny? They premiered it like 5 years ago, and nobody thought they would build it. I don't even know what they call the stupid thing, but it looks really cool. I'm sure Honda Ridgeline's scared, shaking in their boots, but there were some pictures that came out of it this past week where it actually showed it towing a pretty decent load.
Yeah, I crack up because it's funny because Honda Ridgeline, they have a race program and they have it's a Honda Ridgeline race truck, but there's nothing about it that's Honda Ridgeline other than it's
the money that paid to be on it.
It's the same Honda motor except they have except it's a race motor and it's twin turbo.
Right.
Other than that, but even then, like Honda has a truck race mark or a racing team for the Ridgeline, and you don't see Ford with a racing team for their
they do have it for the Bronco. Well, I don't think it's
they do. Yeah.
Ford.
Well, yeah, they do, but they just started that,
and then hasn't finished a race yet.
Yeah, Toyota doesn't sponsor any race trucks that I know of.
Not
but the Ridgeline, of all the trucks, of all the people that you would think have a race truck out there.
Hyundai Santa Cruz is what Pickup Truck and SUV is talking about. Let's see.
I know what that is. Yeah.
Kelly was at something about a Rocky Ridge Frontier. I don't know if I'm in on that conversation or not, but I would stay away from a Rocky Ridge Frontier. I'd stay away from anything Rocky Ridge. I know my buddy Tim with Pickup Truck and SUV Talk did a video on a Rocky Ridge about 2 years ago, Titan. And they're so overpriced, man. Like, just ridiculously overpriced. And, yeah, you get a lot of cool leather stitching, and, you get a lift and all this stuff. But you've got a $80,000, $40,000 truck, I mean.
Yeah.
And people go nuts at what dealers charge to lift vehicles, which
for sure.
I understand. There's a big investment for a dealership to do that. There's a lot of liability for a dealership to do that because they have to warranty those parts out. So they got to, make sure they're protected. But let's see. Yeah. The Santa Cruz might beat the Ridgeline. I think it would. I saw a Ridgeline today when I was in town, and I did a double take. And I see these things, but for some reason I was like, well, that's a weird car that they took the bed.
It's a Honda Pilot. Wait a second. What happened to the back of that Honda Pilot?
Let's see. Cordetti.
Brian.
Oh, go ahead.
Real quick. Brian, that Ridgeline, he races in a class where it's kind of like my class. It's like the step up from my class, but it's ridiculous. And just a heads up, he races in a class where there's usually 2 or 3 competitors, and there's a lot of money in the. I know a lot about the Ridgeline race program.
They're working with you, right?
They're currently building my truck right now
Nissan.
For the wiring. Yeah, I've seen the truck about 400 times, just because I go over there all the time. But that truck it's a 6100 class, which is a class right below trophy truck. So the frame and the tube work on it is literally like a trophy truck frame chassis with a Honda twin turbo motor, and the suspension is the same as like a trophy truck basically. And they're limited on factory motor and a couple other little things, but it's a downsized trophy truck with Ridgeline fiberglass on it. So
Cordetti said
it's a badass truck.
Cordetti said he would trade his Tacoma in on a Mitsubishi Triton, whatever you call it, if it ever comes to Canada. And What is so special about this Mitsubishi truck? It's the ugliest thing in the world. I know. Generally, they know.
Isn't it built on a Frontier frame?
No. These are way before their partnership with Nissan, because there was actually a rumor floating that the 4th gen Frontier would be built by Mitsubishi.
Gotcha.
Let's see. Any news about the Aria? Nissan is planning to sell about 1 million per year globally. Will it eat the Tesla Model Y for sale? It will eat Tesla Model Y sales for sure. 310-mile range, 40,000. I have not heard. The only thing I've got a whiff of that it might be in July when they show that thing. So that's the only thing.
Well, what did that whiff smell like, Dave? I'm very curious.
Smelled very staticky and kind of electric.
Like a touch of burnt hair.
Yes, it's like. Never mind. Moving on. But Aria, I'm super excited about Aria. I know it's EV, and it's hit or miss. It depends if you can stick your nose in the air. You might like an EV. If you can't, I don't know. But I'm happy to see somebody truly take on Tesla, and that's what Aria is going to do. Mm-hmm. You're going to battle. It's like Cadillac versus Chevrolet. Is it up here for no? But Tesla already has its fanboys. It's got its little club, and those guys are never going to give anything else a chance. 310 miles, that's a nice spot for an electric vehicle. Now, after a year and a half, does it continue to get 310 miles? Because I know that there's still been a little bit of a deterioration in battery tech. So let's see. I'm not answering any more questions till we at least get $1 in Super Chat, Danny. $1.
That's right. We're going to go silent until we get $1 Super Chat. You cheap sons of bitches.
No, I'm just kidding. Let's see. In Australia, they're better.
That's interesting. I haven't paid much attention to them. I didn't realize they're out in Australia right now. I'm going to have to do some Googling, Cordetti, to see how those Mitsubishis are doing out in Australia. That's some interesting stuff. Obviously, because we don't have them, it's not in the forefront of my Googleator.
Ooh.
But that's some interesting stuff. I gotta see what they're all about. That's a good heads up.
Tim with Pickup Truck and SUV Talk said the new Ford F-150 this year will lay down with a lay down seat. Am I impressed? I guess if I was a pimp working my hose that I would be super impressed. Look at Pickup Truck and SUV. 99
Let's
cents.
answer some questions. No,
Woo!
Hey Dave. So I will say, like a nice lay down seat in the back would be really, really nice. That's actually something where, like, the fold up seats in the Frontier. I know with my experience with the fold up seats in the Frontier, you fold the bottoms up, it's not great. You fold the backs down, it's not great. It would be nice to have a setup to where if it's just you and you're trying to haul a bunch of extra stuff, if it made for like a good shelf and you could actually have like a viable like storage, a way to store stuff in there that it's not all crooked and off kilter and stuff like that. So that might be a really nice little secret thing that they came out with, which I'm sure couldn't cost $1 million to make, but it's it's like one of those little cool little things that adds to the value, that you would enjoy out of a truck like that. So that's interesting to see.
I don't know. Truck tech is getting so gimmicky. Like the tailgate situation. I know
the tailgate things drove me nuts. Dude.
I know
the tailgate thing drove me nuts.
Tim over there with Pickup Truck and SUV Talk had his little rant about it. But like tailgate tech, how either America
the wheel. It is in a full German. It was almost like they got two Germans. They're like, we want you to make that tailgate
the most
as cool as a BMW.
Yeah.
And they're like, we will make the tailgate operates a very, very amazing lock.
And make it the complicated thing as possible. Some of the goofy tech that, like, there's nowhere to go with trucks anymore. So aluminum bodies was probably like the last major stepping stone until they go electric, which I do not see any need for electric pickup. They're all rushing to do it, but I don't see any need for that.
I mean, I think it's cool. I like a lot of the Rivian and
till you put something.
It's pretty cool.
Till you put something in the bed of the truck and suddenly you get 50 miles and you're out of charge.
We'll see, Dave. I mean, they got so much torque. We'll see.
Well, no, but that's a fact, man. Like, you put anything, it requires more electricity. So we'll see on that. Let's see. Brian Turnquist, thank you for that $5, sir.
Expedition Outfitters has a good point. A truck needs to be about it needs to be simple enough to not care about using it as a real truck. And there's a huge volume of trucks that is exactly what they're bought for. That's why they're used that way. So you have to make sure that, I mean, that's the thing too, is if you're going to be buying a platinum version of a truck, sure, throw in a bunch of gimmicks, whatever. That's what those people want. They want to spend a shite ton of money on it. But your middle range trucks, they don't need a tailgate that folds 46 different ways and ends up in a Transformer movie.
I was
you know what
gonna
I'm
say,
saying? Like,
suddenly Optimus Prime's an F-150.
You press the button in the cab and it goes, you know, like, wow, my tailgate just formed into a small man and is serving me coffee in a little dish. My tailgate just buttered my bread for me. This is amazing. All I wanted to do was load some 2x4s, but I got a tea and a crumpet. Anyhow, sorry about the rant, guys.
Oh God, I got tears.
Blind Man Overland, thanks, bro.
Blind Man, hit me up next week. I want you on
Welcome
the I want you on the show next week. Because you just did a big adventure. I want to talk. So hit me up and we'll get you on the show next week. If you want to be on the show, by the way. You are right though. Like how I don't know what more you could want out of a vehicle. You know, yeah, trucks are like kind of the cool car now, but at the end of the day, I still need a truck to perform like a truck.
Exactly.
Yeah, so which is kind of exciting about the next frontier and also a little scary, because to get to Joe Taylor's question about do I see like the road kind of where they're going with their interiors for the trucks? Sure. Of course, man. That's why I think they'll do a platinum version, that they're gonna do that high end leather like interior.
And in truth, Dave, the interior is kind of a little bit more where I'm willing to give a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Dodge obviously showed that people need an interior that isn't old Dodge. You know, like,
yeah.
That's the thing too, is like you want a work truck and you want it to be beefy and hard and cool, but don't have a work truck that's an old Dodge interior where it's like made out of, you know, cardboard that they spray painted with like some Home Depot Rust-Oleum bed liner. You know what I'm saying? So like the interior, yeah, you want it nice. You want it like, I love the Ram Rebel, the new Ram Rebel. It's got all the aircraft looking switches. You want the interior to feel like a you know, like you're in a control center of your work environment. You know, you're working on a truck, you got switches, you got all kinds of good plugs, you know, if you need to plug in stuff. That's where, I mean, I will say like Ford and Dodge started to do this cool stuff.
Wait,
like,
Danny. Whoa, did you not just, Joe Taylor needs to find the super chat button. Joe, are you kidding me? Like, look under the chat box and you'll see that little smiley
Joe,
face.
It's his first day. Over on the right, there's a $. Sign.
$. Anyways, I'm sorry, Danny. Joe, I'm just giving you crap, buddy. Yeah, but
no, but it needs that those user friendly things. The F250. I remember when my buddy first had one, and he's like, it's got like 4 toggle switches. 2 of them are hooked up to something, and 2 of them are made so that if you want to put off road lights and stuff like that on, you can wire them straight up to the factory. You know, you put a power and ground in here, and bada bing, bada boom, it's already, you know, fused for, you know, XYZ amps or whatever.
Do they?
And I'm
when
like,
they
that's
do those,
freaking perfect.
Do they do those dummy switches? Do they already dummy them to a fuse panel, to a fuse box?
I'm pretty sure they're all relayed into a fuse box. Yeah.
Okay.
So it makes really dumb proof, you know. So that was like a cool feature for a while. I don't know if they still do it. They should. It's a really cool feature in my opinion. And I mean, it cannot cost that much to put a couple dummy switches in there.
No.
And say, hey, you know, because I mean, there's so many people that I would say do it in the Pro 4X version, you know, because people are like, you know, buying a Pro 4X. So many people want, if you're going to be buying a Pro 4X, you got to be taking it on dirt. Else, just buy a 4-wheel drive.
Right.
You
well,
know?
and I did a rant about that. You know, what does Pro 4X mean anymore? And I like the Pro 4X name. I like it better than Nismo, whatever they tried to do the first time around. Pro 4X, and we'll get into the debate of this because I know my buddy with Pickup Trucks and SUV talk, he doesn't like the Pro 4X name. I like it. I don't know. There's something about it. Like, I think, like, you know, what does ZR2 mean? I don't know. It means it means that they build a badass. You know, what is FX4? You know, I don't think Ford did anything called FX4.
Why wasn't it ZR4? Why wasn't it ZR4?
I don't know. But I don't think Ford did the FX, whatever they call it, package till Nissan did a Pro 4X package.
Oh, they got the FX4 and then they had the FX2, which is the most
Oh.
unfortunate thing I've ever seen on a vehicle. FX2. It's like, hey, look, I'm awesome. Nope, never mind. Just kidding. It's 2. It's really nothing special about this truck.
But yes, Pro 4X needs to mean something again. And like you're saying, it better come with some cool switches. It better, there better be some potential. But I will say this. The market shifted so drastically from 2005. And I hate to say that we're talking from 2005 till now. And before I get it, Kelly, thank you for that $1.99. Thank you for that super chat. We do appreciate that. But the market changed so rapidly on them, and Raptor changed everything in the truck market. It really did.
Yeah.
When they did there was the battle when Chevy did the 454 SS, which was like 220 horsepower back then.
Yeah.
That was kind of a game changer for the people are like, really? People would buy just a truck because it's fast? Of course. Like the Cyclone, like you were talking about, and the Typhoon. Oh, yeah.
Well, Cyclone, the Lightnings. Yeah.
And just back at those times, they didn't commit to it. Ford did the Lightning. They never solidly committed to it like they did Raptor. And, you were talking earlier about...
Well, they had that truck for... I think they kind of did. It didn't pick up I don't think it took off nearly as much as the Raptor did. But they had square... They went from the square body, which was, I'm guessing, some late now. And I'm sure Expedition Outfitters will tell us the date range of this. But they had square body Lightnings. They moved those all the way for at least a few years. But, fast trucks or lowered trucks were kind of a big trend at that point in time, and powerful trucks and stuff like that. So that was, it was a little bit more on the trend side, but the Raptor is another, it's a whole different kind of animal where they did a lot more than put a supercharged V8 and lowered a vehicle. It is the antithesis of that. It's a lifted, very powerful truck.
Well, and they changed Raptor real quick too. It was that SVT whatever that it was a Raptor, but they went from like some SVT thing just a Raptor. Like just go ahead.
Yeah.
And then Hennessy and everybody else made an amazing version of it. Oh, Ronald, thank you so much. And guys, if you haven't noticed, we've changed the background again. We're trying to fine tune all this stuff. Hopefully, you guys like the background, the little fun things we're doing with the super chats and stuff. I'll get Danny to do up a little picture so we can get Danny's face on the super chats. But thank you for that so much. Once again, these funds that you give us, they just go into the kitty. It's to get me to Danny or Danny to me. And
they go into the kitty, Dave?
That's right. We're pulling it all.
Do you
together.
have like one of those little? I
have a Hello
Japanese
Kitty bank
China
that
kitty?
literally it drops digital currency into my little Hello Kitty bank.
That's so cute.
But anyways, guys, thank you for so much. And when you watch these things, guys, you've probably seen a commercial beforehand. I don't know. And if you go back and watch it, there's a commercial. Thank you for watching that. It does help fund the show. And so Danny, let's preview what our weekend was like. So, Danny, I'd been, I'm notoriously cheap. I really am. I'm very cheap, and I want to do things the cheapest way possible. Now, sometimes that bites me in the ass, and sometimes it's to my benefit. Now, this past week, before that, I've been scouring the internets looking for wheels for the Juke. Mm-hmm. Scouring the internets. But I wanted 35th anniversary Zia wheels. They're just so damn expensive. It trips me out. See fly. He wants to see the Hello Kitty bank now. Anyways, I found a set of Infinity wheels for the Juke. Now, granted, I only assumed they fit, Danny. The wheel, the lug spacing, and everything. I assumed they fit because I'd seen some pictures of some Maxima wheels, and I just did the math of I've seen Maxima use Infinity.
Well, and everybody uses the same thing with Nissan.
Yes. So, Joel, thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, same to you, Flytrap.
Yes,
we'll call
thank
him
you.
Flytrap.
Flytrap. Flytrap. I always think that too. But so, Danny, I found some wheels on the old Facebook Marketplace. $100 with tires on them. Now, the guy in the ad was a super nice guy. He said, "Hey, there's some rock rash on it or some curb rash." I was like, "I really don't, unless they're just metal's hanging off of it and it won't balance. I don't really care at this point. I just needed something. The Juke wheels are the ugliest thing I've ever seen. It's the ugliest wheel on the most interesting car. It's an interesting car. I won't say it's a beautiful car, but it's interesting. And they put the goofiest, ugly wheels on this thing. So I went and bought them. Like we were talking earlier, I don't have a pickup anymore, so I had to go get my dad's trailer.
That rear wheel looks so much better. Especially, I will say, especially in the rear, the offset is so much better because there's nothing worse than seeing the body come out and then all of a sudden the wheels are inset. And that's the same with my Z. When I was driving around my Z and then I got new wheels, the new wheels sit flush. You have a good body line. It's not like there's this negative zone where your wheels are and you're like, I have to like walk around a little bit to see where the wheels are. It's just so much better looking.
Well, and Juke lends itself because it's got the stretched out the hump.
It's bulbous.
Yes,
Dave, just say it. It's bulbous.
Kind of muscle car like.
I want everybody to just say bulbous right now. That is a fun
hashtag bulbous.
Bulbous.
But I was a little worried that I was like, man, are these things gonna fit? And I knew obviously I know on the G35s and the Zs, the rear wheels are wider than the fronts. So I knew that. But the rear doesn't do anything on the Juke. It's front wheel drive. But I was a little worried. Am I gonna rub it at full lock on turning? Worked out great. I've got a video dropping this week on it, on the install process. I went through and put new brakes in the car. So we've got that looking forward to. And I was supposed to wrap part of the car tonight, and I was going to change out the steering wheel.
Well, it started raining, right?
Yeah, it started raining, damn it. So
you got a new you got that fresh new steering wheel, huh?
Yeah. Looks
that
so
thing
much
looks
better.
Nice. That'll be good.
Yeah.
Freshy.
So Danny, what was your Nissan adventure? I know we were talking earlier and you were a little aggravated.
Oh gosh, dude. This morning I had the worst Father's Day morning ever, dude.
And happy Father's Day to everybody out there.
Happy Father's Day to everybody out there. There's an oil seal, oil filter cooler seal, right behind where the oil filter is on the Armada. It was like, you know what? It's Father's Day. I'm gonna go tool around in the garage. Did a couple things. I look at my watch. I'm like, I got a couple hours before we did a little family thing. So I was like, I'll put that seal in. So I pulled it off, put the seal in, put it on, changed the oil, started up, and sure enough, it's puking out of where that seal goes. And I'm pissed, because I got the part from Nissan.
When this is a common issue, it's for those that don't know.
It's a common issue. It's a simple fix.
It's a cheap little seal.
It's just a big O-ring about 3 inches in diameter. So I was like pissed that was happening. I lost like a half a quart of oil when I started it up. Luckily, I still had something under there, so it just drained into the catch can,
right?
Or the catch. So I went down and I got another one. Luckily, they had one, and I got another one because I was like, maybe that one was the wrong one. I got one from AutoZone, maybe, and it looked a little bit different. So I put that one in, same thing, and this time it sprayed even more. So I have no idea what. And at that time, I had to leave, so I have no idea why it's not sealing. So I'm gonna have to pull it apart.
There's a little. It seems like there's a little groove for that seal to pop right in on that, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like idiot proof, but apparently I'm an idiot. So.
And you were a BMW mechanic, so I mean.
I was a BMW mechanic, not an Nissan mechanic. So I got that to look forward to. Right as soon as we close this up, I'm gonna go and get after that again. But talk about the most annoying thing. It's supposed to be this little easy fix, and every time you got it in. I don't know. I hate friggin' pulling stuff apart and, oil's getting everywhere and it's all over your, and there's nothing worse than like you start it up and all of a sudden oil spewing everywhere. It's like a 60, 70 PSI oil pressure.
So as a BMW mechanic, what you're saying is you never changed oil.
Apparently.
No, like it did boggle my mind because I literally did fix that in like 15 minutes. I pulled the filter off. It drained just a little bit of oil, put the seal on, put it all back together and done. Never had an issue since. But
yeah, I have no idea what I'm doing wrong.
And of course, Nissan, like you were saying to me privately, like it's the same seal, and whether it's the V8,
like they looked up the part number, double checked the part number and everything. So I don't know, dude.
Well, clearly, Joe Taylor has yet to find that super chat button. Joe, I just give you hell, Joe. I'm only picking at you. Do
bulbous.
But
other than that, Dave, I will say real quick, Dave, a touch of race truck update. I've been texting back and forth with the guys over at the Evan Weller Racing, where they're working on it right now, and man, it's cool. It's nice to work with guys that know what they're doing because he's getting the wiring worked up, And he's like, you know what? While we're gonna be running this harness in here, we might as well pull wire for all these different things. And he started asking me, do you want a siren on this thing? Do we want to hook up rear lights? Do we want to hook up work lights front of the hood? If you're out stuck somewhere, you want to flick on a switch and there's hood lights. You want lights for brake lights and stuff like that. And so a lot of little stuff that I didn't really plan on tackling at this point, that while he's building a harness for this thing, I'm like, yeah, let's just pull wires for all those things so that it's easy plug and play. So it's cool. Right now he's finishing up basically the whole wiring diagram, and pulling wires together to get all the wiring harness done. So I think once he does that, then it's going to be, kind of plug and play for all these different wiring things. A big shout out too quickly to Oz Four-Wheel Drive. He's sending me out some really good little lights for the race truck.
Nice.
That'll be hopefully installing real soon.
Nice.
Hopefully if they show up. I mean, hopefully I didn't give him a shout out too early.
Oz is a pretty solid guy.
Oz is a badass dude. I love that guy. He's got patrols and stuff like that. If you haven't seen him, he's a cool cat.
Yeah, he wouldn't be a guy I would worry too much about.
Yeah, so I'm pretty pumped. It's coming along. That and the red truck, we're just waiting for fenders. I did order Mcneil Fenders. For all of those of you who are wondering, the Mcneil Fenders are flat, with the hood. So one of the things that stands out, where the Fiberworks ones kind of rise up, I kind of like the Mcneil ones a little bit better. So Mcneil Fenders are coming for the red truck. They also have a nice little cool vent looking type thing on the sides. They're not quite as extreme, and the bulbousness on the front and the rear is the same. So it's gonna get front and rear fiberglass fenders on the red truck. So that is the latest in Danny Nissan news.
So when do you think you'll get your truck back then?
The red truck, I think it was a 3-week wait for those fenders, and I ordered them probably a week and a half ago. So maybe another week and a half to 2 weeks before I get that thing back.
Right. And I'm sure you're super pumped about that. Well, I'm assuming it fits well with the Titan swap that you already have on there.
Yeah, I may have to get some new wheels because I went back to the stock wheels, and the offset of those keep them stuffed in pretty good. So it might look a little weird until I get a good wheel and tire package. I'll probably have to go to 35s, Dave. So maybe re-gearing and going to 35s here pretty soon.
Well, you need to re-gear
just
now.
Because, yeah. So that's on the horizon as well. I gotta pay the race truck, and then I have to get back after the red truck. So there's all kinds of mods coming in the future. We'll see if I can afford them all.
Well, that's the thing is, like, yeah, trying to mod a few vehicles at once. We had the 09 Xterra, the 2000 Xterra, and the Titan, which that's why I leased that Titan, so I would not touch that thing. And now I've got a Juke that I'm dumping cheaply money into.
Yeah.
But hey,
that's how it goes.
Well, my Juke, I know you moonlight as a tire salesman sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I've been looking at a BF Goodrich tire, and I think I sent you.
Yeah, the BFG was it G-Force?
Let me see, because I can't
something
remember.
like that.
Can't remember the name of. Okay, yeah, they were G-Force Comp 2A/S.
Yeah.
I really like those tires because for my Juke, the tire needs to look aggressive, but obviously I don't want to spend $400 per tire because it's not going to be a track car by any means. I just want it to look a little more aggressive. I've never actually ran a BF Goodrich for a car before. What's your opinions?
They're decent tires. They're good for kind of an all around tire.
Mm-hmm.
They're not exactly like a track tire. I'd say if you wanted something really sticky, I'd say go Nitto NT 555s or something like a Michelin A4S Sport kind of thing. Those things are sticky and they grip like crazy, but they're really expensive. You're probably going to look at spending at least $50 to $70 more per tire. So the BF Goodrich is a really good all around tire. They last great. They actually come with a mileage warranty for a tire like that, which is a little bit less prevalent in a tire that size. So
well, the odds
I
of
think that's going to be a good tire for you.
The odds of me of actually warranting out or needing 40,000 mile warranty or whatever on this Juke are pretty slim to none.
Usually when you see a tire warranty on a tire, though, what that says is this tire will last a lot longer than a lot of tires will come with no tire warranty. And then if you look at the Treadwear rating, which is usually you see them at like anywhere between 100 to 500 Treadwear ratings, or we'll call them Treadwear ratings. that can signify the hardness of the rubber, basically. And then it'll say like 2 or 300 AA, AB. Those are treadwear ratings. The number in front is basically the how hard in layman terms, it's how hard the tire or the rubber compound is.
Right.
Usually, if you have a really hard treadwear, it's going to last a long time. It won't be quite as good in a performance scenario,
Right.
but it'll last a long time. And then same with and then those A, B, or C ratings. Usually, that's just like in grammar school, it has an A, B, or C rating as far as treadwear.
Well, now
That's
I've
a
been
little
educated by Danny
Yeah.
and his tire knowledge.
One more little thing.
So guys, what I'm saying basically is we're gonna need a lot of super sticker chatty things. No, I'm playing. But no, like so the tires that came on the wheels that I bought, the typical G35, the inners are worn because they do camber those tires out just a little bit, or they camber the wheels out just a little bit. It'll get me by for a month or two, but I'm going to have to make a move pretty quick. And whether the wife's happy about that or not, I don't know. But I was looking at them. Let's see, discount tires. Let's see. So in my area, I can get the fronts for about $134 a piece, and the rears for about $147 a piece. So
Yeah, that sounds about right.
not bad considering that we're truck guys and we're used to paying over $200 per tire.
No kidding.
So
my BFG all-terrains are at least 200.
I was that was when I bought my G35. I was surprised about was like car tires are so cheap. Jeez, no wonder.
Well, here's the thing too with car tires is like they're cheap until you want to go do a little bit of track time and stuff like that, and you can it's the same thing. You can spiral down that expensive tire game. You're like, I need something for the track, and all of a sudden you have two sets of tires, your daily driver tires and your other tires, and therefore it's like twice as much.
Well, I've stacked the juke wheels up in next to the house, and they're going to go on the marketplace, and I'll never see those again. And it does as we wind this down. It does when I see the juke with the wheels on it. Now I'm like, they could have, if they would have only like, I know the sales started slowing down for juke by 17 when they killed it here in the States. If they would only change the wheels every so often, like you can look, Dodge and everybody's mastered this. You just tweak something on the Charger or Challenger and you get 5 more years of sales out of the same car,
Yeah, for sure.
Nissan seems to not understand that. And they did, well, I will say they did change the Pro 4X wheels once. But
and here's the thing too, is like their facelifts are negligible. Like so the Frontier got a facelift, and it's so minor you wouldn't even know about it unless you had one. Well,
they changed. Well, the interior they did add some kind of platinum.
They had a little interior. I want to say it was like 12 or 13. They changed the grill, and the grill sticks down maybe like an extra quarter of an inch, and the trim below the grill is different than like the earlier models. But it's so negligible that unless you're like a big Frontier guy and you're trying to buy a new grill or something like that, or putting a new bumper on, you need a new little trim piece or whatever it is, you're like, wait a second, why did you bother with this? I can't understand why they just added that extra quarter inch, and like the headlights are a little bit different. It's like a negligible facelift, and I don't get why they did that.
Right. Who knows with them.
Maybe they just got a new contract for headlights or something like that, and they're like, oh, these headlights are, so.
Right. Let's see. A couple more questions here. I was trying to scan through here before we wrap this thing up. Let's see. A lot of dealers are Frontier Life. A lot of dealers he's talked to are out of Frontiers. Told the 2020 is going to hit in July. I actually look for the 2020s to hit at the end of the month, maybe the 1st of July. Let's see.
Joel said, I need some sassy in my Frontier, and I can guarantee you, Joe, that my Frontier will never, ever, ever, ever have a solid axle in it. And I would tell you that I probably won't ever own a solid axle front solid axle vehicle. Not my style, not my game. SoCal, long travel life.
No, I get that, but you should drive JR's Frontier. Next time you're out here, you're gonna have to
drive Cody's and it was red. It's not my style, dude.
This is way different. Way different.
High speed High speed, Dave.
Nobody
High
cares
speed.
about high speed, Danny.
High speed. There's more adrenaline in high speed, and I'm an adrenaline junkie, Dave. That's all. That's
Well,
all
dude,
it comes down to.
So I just watched Twister with my daughter. She'd never seen that movie. And the great, what is it? The Comanche, the yellow. Is it a Comanche?
Oh yeah.
If I could ever find a Comanche, and I'm Nissan through and through, I would own a Comanche
sweet
in a heartbeat.
old truck. Yeah.
I love the scene
Those
where they
things are
show
cool.
him, and it's obviously solid axle. You see him just like cutting into that ditch, and you see, and there's like, I'm like, you would have ripped the front end out of this truck by the time you did this. Oh, let's see.
Gulnara Chikvedzi. We want to buy a new Rogue, but afraid of the CVT issues. Do you think Nissan revised improved CVT? Droning doesn't bother us, just reliability. Does Nissan usually analyze what was wrong in their old CVT? I think the new CVTs actually aren't terrible as far as longevity and reliability. They did fix a lot over the years.
Mm-hmm. They do, because this is like the 4th gen of the CVT.
Yeah,
it's
but they cause a lot of lackluster when it comes to feeling the car, and it's I don't know.
For a Rogue
vanilla.
though, I'm torn on the CVT. I really am, because it's nothing exciting to drive, and once again, not everybody needs a vehicle that feels exciting. And for daily use, yes, it works. It does. It's my son's 17 Sentra.
It's not the worst thing in the world.
No,
you know.
No, I mean,
it's not bad.
It's a step above. It's a step above pedaling a bicycle. So as far as excitement. Man, the super chats are coming in like crazy.
Yeah,
now.
Thanks, Kelly and Flytrap.
They heard my want for tires.
Yeah, right. I totally think that a 9-speed transmission is going to be so much better personally.
Yes.
You know, I mean,
yes.
it'll probably work better, last longer, etc.
I think
I don't think it's a big deal though. They've had them so long, and they've done a lot of R&D, and they've changed things. And the early models is where they get their bad name from.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't think the most recent ones that are out are
they have had
terrible.
They have had some failures, but it's not like that first gen with those 06 Maximas that in the Altimas that would just, you get 70,000 miles and good luck, man. You better get rid of that car. And I was surprised, we had somebody hit us up about, they got rid of their latest Altima or whatever. It hit 70,000 miles, and they were so paranoid about the CVT and the thing going out that they were like, I'm dumping it. And that has to be an issue for Nissan right now. They have to understand that people have they want to buy your vehicle because you make an awesome looking vehicle, and the new Altima is freaking nice. But there's a confidence thing in the CVT, and by questions like that one show that there's a confidence issue. And
exactly,
and
which stemmed from the early models for the most part.
A lot of it does, yes. The new Rogue. We'll say that I don't know anything about the powertrain of it. If it's maybe a Gen 5 powertrain. As soon as they release more details, they were very sketchy on releasing anything about the drivetrain. And only reason I know it's a CVT in it is because somebody asked on their social media page, and they said that. And I didn't see anything in their press release about a CVT. Now, I will say for their SUV line, I'm really excited when Pathfinder hits with that 9-speed. I think that's going to give us a good idea of where they're going with that. And I think that for Pathfinder is going to, we bitched about the ads they used to show with Pathfinder with that CVT transmission towing. I think this is going to give a lot more confidence to some things like that. I think finally you might be able to tow a boat now. Before I wouldn't have towed a jet ski with the thing. So
yeah, for sure. You make a good point there.
Is Kelly asked, is the CVT
in the
yes, unfortunately the all this last not all of the Infinity, but a lot of the SUV stuff does have, unfortunately, CVT in it.
Yeah, the equivalent crossover from CVT to
Joe Taylor #funds for tires. I appreciate that, Joe.
I like that.
Kelly begging for help. Colorful chat. Let's see, Dave. What did you think of the virtual Rogue? Oh, I meant to get to this. I'm sorry. What did I think of the virtual Rogue videos? I thought this spokesperson, I can't remember the gentleman's name, vice president, blah, blah, blah. I thought they could have found a better spokesperson, honestly. He got
Isn't that the standard issue for Nissan? I feel like their spokespeople for all of their stuff are always so subpar. Am I wrong, Dave?
You mean Carlos Ghosn trying to
everybody when they're debuting trucks, when they did a live thing, and there was this girl. I remember we had a podcast where we were complaining about it the whole podcast. There was this girl that was talking, and you just couldn't get past the girl that was just yammering on, and you're like, who is this woman? She doesn't sound like she's talking about anything she knows about.
I know the girl we're talking about.
Yeah.
She's a little firecracker. But yeah, they got the information out there. I feel for any PR department in any manufacturer right now. Like, I just think that it's kind of it's a crapshoot of getting your vehicle out there, building some excitement, and then what? Like, usually you go to a car show, we all sit there, you listen to the spiel, you can do a live video, you get to physically see the vehicle, you get to physically touch the vehicle after the presentation, and it's more exciting. Now, we're in COVID times, and yeah, it is what it is. I did like that they put multiple videos out. The first one I saw, they did something on, it was horrible, and I commented on their thing that it was horrible, and then the next few videos I watched were fine. Joe Taylor, I have a video coming out where I break down the truck or the SUV a little bit, and yes, Jared Haslam was his name, and yeah, he did fine, but he just, I don't know. I didn't feel. You want to feel confident when the guy's talking.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
Like Danny was saying earlier, they've had a run of people, whether it be Carlos Ghosn, who would probably never drove a full size truck in his life, trying to sell me on a Titan. There needs to be with trucks. They should have had Fred Diaz do it. He knew the truck. He drove the truck.
Yeah.
Or Hagen and any of these guys that know the trucks, but. No,
somebody who's really well spoken, really good in the front of the camera, and just exactly what you said, inspires that feeling like they know exactly what they're talking about, and they have a very solid grasp on the technology and the features and benefits. Like, if that guy was trying to sell me something, it reminded me of somebody walking up to me in the lot who had just started working at some car dealership trying to tell me something about a Nissan, and I know everything about him, and I'm like, wait a second, guy, you read a brochure real quick, and you're walking and trying to tell me what's going on.
Jeff Cordetti, nobody will ever top Ricardo Montalban in the 70s. Sell it, dude. That takes me so back to my childhood, man. Those were great ads. But you know what Nissan needs? Oh God, who was the head of Chrysler in the 80s? Oh God, it's gonna boggle my mind.
I don't know, Dave. I was still trying to figure out how to put peas in my face.
I know. Joe or somebody will pop up in there with his name, but he was the spokesman for Chrysler, and he helped rebuild Chrysler from their demise, where the government did bail them out in the 70s to, God, what is his name? Lee Iacocca.
Oh yeah, because he moved over from Ford in the 70s, right?
And he literally was the spokesperson for that brand, and it was the guy running the company. And Nissan really needs
Lee
to do
Iacocca
that.
was an engineer. I mean, a brilliant man, right?
Yes, his book is amazing.
Some people, just because you're a brilliant guy, doesn't mean you're a spokesperson. There's a big difference between somebody that can sell or speak through something to bring captivate an audience.
I will say,
and somebody that can build something.
With Nissan, they are trying to find somebody obviously they're trying to find somebody within the company that clearly is designing these vehicles or has a part of it. They're trying to build some excitement from these people going, hey, let me sell you the vehicle. And I'm not crapping on the gentleman that did that.
It wasn't terrible.
No, he got the
Yeah, he did the job, but you want somebody that kills it, and they didn't kill it, in my opinion.
Right. So let's see a couple more questions, and we're gonna have to go because I know Danny's over there probably ready for dinner by now. And my whiskey, Danny, my glass is almost empty. Look at that.
Well, if you had a fridge next time.
I know.
Well, you don't need a fridge for whiskey.
Look, Danny, do you have your Nissan Nation glass? Because I do.
I know you're holding it up, Dave, but I'm on a lag, and I can't see your video on my screen, so I'm gonna respond to you in about 30 seconds.
But anyways,
we gotta wrap it up, Dave.
we
Though
do,
I mean, we've been going for an hour and a half now here.
I know this is our longest, I think, live stream.
Oh, there it is. I see you holding your whiskey up to me. So obviously it is time to close this thing out.
Which I'm trying to find somebody that can sell these things that can actually do it under $20. Somebody quoted me a price of like $18 per glass, and I was like, I'd like to make $1 or $2 on the glass, and nobody's gonna buy a glass if it's
$50 whiskey glasses, guys. Who's in?
Once again, me and Danny are going to figure out how to donate. We've got the skateboard, Danny. Let me pull this out here.
Oh yeah.
So I am going to autograph this thing, and I'm going to send it to Danny to autograph. Yep. And we're going to collect some funds for Ryan Miller's charity that he chooses.
Yes, it's a military foundation. I believe they take care of guys with PTSD, and it's kind of like Wounded Warriors, but they don't steal all your money.
You're right. They're not creeps. So we're gonna figure out how to get rid of this thing, and it would look really, Danny. It would probably look good right there, but I've had a lot of people asking for this thing, so I want this to go out. So we're gonna figure out a way here in the next couple weeks how to raise some money for this thing. I want to raise. I say I want to raise a lot of money because obviously we want to raise as much money as we possibly can, but we got to figure out a way to make this thing worth it to get Ryan a little bit of cash. And so you guys be ready, be on the lookout for this thing. It's coming up soon. I'm gonna autograph
if you see it, please share it wherever you can. If you have the means to donate, we greatly appreciate it. But if you don't, then please share it all over the place. But keep an eye out for that. What's something that's near and dear to Ryan Miller, one of our good buddies who is also a veteran, near and dear to my heart. Mm-hmm. So we would be stoked, especially in this time where there's.
But don't riot over it, guys. Don't riot over this, okay?
Riot, not ride. I was like, why can't they ride it? Put some trucks on that thing, go use it. Hell yeah, dude.
we give it to somebody and see like.
Here's a skateboard. Better not ride on it.
We get it. All of a sudden, somebody sends it to us. There's like scrapes everywhere, or they just wipe our names off of it when we sign it.
Yeah, right. They're like, give me some acetone.
I just wanted a skateboard. I didn't care about you guys.
Decent little skateboard.
Anyways, guys, thank you so much for being on an hour 30. An hour 30, yeah. Danny. Guys, cheers to everybody. Thank you so much.
Happy Father's Day to all you guys out there. Fathers are what keep riots from happening. So father your children. Remember, if you have daughters, they're going to date dudes like you, so don't be a douche. If you have sons, they're going to hang out with dudes like you, so don't be a douche.
Let the commence.
Yeah, and make good children.
That's right, man.
So cheers to you boys for all you men out there that are putting in the hard work now, so your kids are cool later.
That is. And finally, thank you guys to everybody that did donate tonight. That money really does. Like, you guys have amazed me how you guys have donated to us, and we're not getting rich by this by any means, guys. So yeah, some of the money has funded some things with the Juke. We've got projects coming up that we really want to fund. We've got a Frontier that we're going to buy as soon as they drop it, that we want to help fund that down the road. And by you liking and sharing these videos does a lot to help do that. And not everybody can donate, and I appreciate that, but by watching an ad on these videos goes a long way to help fund this thing. So from all things Nissan here, Danny, in Middle Tennessee, to way out in SoCal. Danny, how is the weather in SoCal?
Sunny and beautiful, brother. Like always.
Dude, I love seeing you. And this brings a smile to my face. And we're going to get together soon, right?
Absolutely, brother. As soon as I'm allowed to leave the state.
Joe Taylor donated $2,000. So from all things Nissan here in Middle Tennessee to way over in Southern California, what are we, Danny?
We are out.
Peace, everybody. Love y'all.
Love you guys.
Peace.